I always wanted to build a lean, aesthetically pleasing body. Balanced like the Greek statues and athletic like athletes. Bodybuilders look cool, but the more natural, movie star look is what I was aiming for. As a skinny guy, I tried copying influencers and celebrities, which went about as well as you'd expect. It took me years to realize that most of the advice was optimized for clicks and not results. Today, there's even more misguided advice and needless complexity. I'm no Greek statue, but I'm finally making decent progress since I ignored most of this and focused on these few fundamentals. So this is my complete guide on how to build an aesthetic body. It's not going to be easy, but it's completely worth it. A recent study was published exploring the most attractive male physique in 3 different countries. They found 2 factors which surprised a lot of people. The New York Post covered it and claimed dad bods are the gold standard, which suggests they didn't read the study very well, because the strongest predictor of attractiveness was a lean body fat percentage, just not the extremes that Instagram pushes. The most attractive physiques landed roughly between 12 and 18% body fat, or a BMI of around 23 to 27, so not worryingly lean or unhealthily fat. The second factor was proportions. A shoulder to waist ratio of around 1.57 came out on top. After that, attractiveness barely increased, interestingly close to the golden ratio, a so-called divine proportion that people love to bring up when they want science to sound mystical. There's no solid scientific proof of exact proportions. It's more about ranges and achieving visual harmony. That's exactly what many of the muscular ancient statues were built around, and it's what Eugene Sandow studied long before social media existed. So naturally, the next question is, which muscles actually matter the most? Jeremy Etier polled 200 women and found arms to be the most attractive muscle, followed by shoulders, back, and chest. Jane Duquette surveyed over 400 women and found almost the same thing. That doesn't mean you should ignore everything else. For example, almost nobody says the neck is the most attractive muscle, but it's visible all the time and can massively change how you look. Jeff Nippard is a good testament to neck training. If you want fast visual results, you want to train the muscles that build the V-taper, so shoulders, chest, arms, and back. Now here's the important reality check. You're not a statue. You have a specific bone structure, muscle bellies and insertions, not to mention different body fat distributions. You can't change those, but you can massively improve what you can control. I've got a wider waist, for example, so I focus on dropping body fat while building my shoulders, lats, and my lower abs. After this, my clothing fit better, my face got leaner, and my mental and overall health improved. That's the part that people miss. What matters far more than trying to look a certain way for others is feeling good about how you look. And almost all of you can build an athletic body without steroids or dedicating your life to the gym. So here's how you do it. Many people make a huge mistake when training for aesthetics. Shane Duquette calls it the rat tail dilemma. In Vietnam, officials once offered rewards for dead rats to try and reduce their numbers. 1 cent in exchange for a rat tail. So people started breeding rats just to kill them for the payout. The incentive worked, but the outcome got worse. The key reason the V-taper and broad shoulders is considered attractive is because it signifies health and physical competence. So instead of trying to look healthy or training shoulders and arms to signal strength, it's far more effective to actually be healthy and physically capable. When you do this, the look takes care of itself. To build a well-balanced V-taper physique, prioritize compound movements. I love free weights, but you can still do these with machines. Please don't feel pressure to avoid them, because Tommy Tough Knuckles told you to. You want to get stronger at the following movements: a vertical pull for back width, a horizontal pull for back thickness, a vertical push for shoulders and triceps, a horizontal push for chest and triceps, a hip hinge for your posterior chain, and a squat pattern for strong legs. Progressively overload these, and it becomes very hard not to end up looking good. There's a good reason Jeff Nippard attributes the best back progress of his life to weighted pull-ups. It's a simple and timeless exercise that you don't need to overthink. Now once those compounds are in place, isolation work can sharpen your results. I saw the fastest shoulder growth once I started training them more regularly. But instead of more shoulder pressing, I added lateral variations for the side delts, which helped give my shoulders a more 3D look. Then, to make them look cooler from the side, rear delt exercises like delt flies and face balls helped. About 2/3 of your upper arm size comes from the triceps, so if you want bigger arms, they can make more of a difference than biceps. Pressing exercises helped, but they weren't enough on their own. An overhead tricep extension helps build the part of the tricep that adds size from the side and the back. Then consider a simpler movement like pushdowns to fill out the rest of your arm and add extra work without beating up your elbows. That combo pretty much covers everything without overcomplicating it. For biceps, I started with endless curls. I was more focused on doing as many sets as I possibly could, as opposed to progressively overloading them. It was only when I chose a few variations and really focused on pushing them hard that my biceps finally started growing. Now, your forearms already get indirectly trained with pulling movements, but if you want them to stand out, especially when you're leaner, hammer curls as well as wrist curls are a simple and effective addition. The neck has a bigger impact on how you look, more than most people realize, and it responds surprisingly quickly to direct training. I keep it simple with neck curls as the main movement. You can start with body weight against gravity, and then add a light plate once the reps feel solid. I pair this with neck extensions to keep the front and the back balanced. Reps stay controlled and on the higher side. This isn't an area to rush. Slow tempo matters when you're training the thing that's holding your head on. I train neck 2 to 3 times per week, for about 10 to 15 minutes before bed. Alex Leonardis has some solid tutorials if you need demos. I keep ab training minimal, 2 exercises, 2 to 3 hard sets, once or twice a week. I focus more on lower ab movements, since they're usually the last to show. Everyone has abs, it's the fat loss that reveals them, but once you're lean, better trained abs do look more prominent. Don't worry if you don't have fancy equipment. Muscles don't know what you're using, they only respond to tension, and your chest doesn't care if that tension comes from a machine or weighted push-ups. As long as you're training hard, doing enough total work, and getting stronger over time. You can get lost debating angles, tempo, and resistance curves, but these are lower return details. Eric Helms summed this up well with the muscle and strength pyramids. As you can see, effort, volume, and progression matter most. Get those right, and most of your results are covered. After that comes exercise choice and rest between sets. Particular tempo matters too, just much less. Basically, you just want to follow a program that allows you to hit each muscle group twice a week. And if that program's decent, most of us nerdy stuff will be taken care of. As a simple guide, 3 days, full body, 4 days, push-pull, upper-lower, 5 days, push-pull, lower, upper-lower, and 6 days, push-pull legs, push-pull legs. Also put together a free minimalist program for those of you with about 1 hour to train 3 days a week, built around all of these principles, which I'll put in the description. Program hopping will make it harder to achieve progressive overload, so once you've chosen a program, please stick to it. Still, you can have the best training split in the world. If you're eating too few or too many calories, your progress is going to be limited, so you're going to want to pick the right phase for your goals.
Anything over 12% body fat, in my opinion, I would consider you to not be in shape as a man.
If you scroll TikTok long enough, it's easy to think that you need to be shredded to be in shape. I used to believe that too, and I spent years stuck in a loop of cutting, failing, and then cutting again. For most men, a 10 to 16% body fat range usually looks best. Lean enough to show muscle, but not so lean that life becomes miserable. If you're at the higher end, fat loss gives the biggest visual returns. Dr. Helms suggests losing at a rate around 0.5 to 1% of body weight per week, which is fast enough so you're not constantly cutting, but slow enough that you're not losing unnecessary muscle mass. If you're on the skinny side, you want to start with a lean bulk, roughly 200 to 500 calories more than you would typically eat to maintain your weight. If you're unsure, returning from injury, or a beginner, a short recomposition phase, in which you gain a little bit of muscle and lose a little bit of fat, could work well. This is where you simply eat nutritious foods at around maintenance calories. The most important thing though, is that you follow through with your decision. We want to avoid any yo-yo dieting. Mike Matthews suggests a bulk to cut ratio of around 3 to 1. So for every 1 month you spend trying to lose fat, aim for around 3 months lean bulking. Or Dr. Helms suggests around 4 to 1. Generally, you want to spend most of your time lean bulking so you can gain muscle. What will make this a lot easier is understanding how to set up a meal plan for aesthetics and health. Body composition, health, and performance are not entirely the same goals. Elite athletes often eat pure sugar for competitions to maximize performance. Some people may keep their calories, protein, and carbs lower than optimal for max muscle growth for health reasons. I used to consume dubious amounts of sweeteners and stimulants to try and stick to my deficit when I cared mostly about body composition. There's nothing inherently wrong with having different goals, but generally, it's going to be best if you can focus on the crossover zone in which body composition, performance, and health overlap. Firstly, you want to find your rough calorie budget depending on your goal. Secondly, you want to ensure adequate protein. Based on the latest research, this usually equates to 0.73 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So between 131 and 180 grams if you weigh 180 pounds. Now Juan Franco would have been knocking back 1,340 grams of protein with this. So if you're more towards the heavier side, 1 gram of protein per centimeter of height usually works well as a ballpark figure. Now this is going to be a lot for a lot of you, so if it's too expensive or impractical, I wouldn't worry too much if you aim a little bit lower. Next, you want to ensure you get enough fat for hormone regulation and vitamin absorption. Dr. Helm suggests at least 0.3 grams of fat per pound of body weight. To help manage hunger and support overall health, we want to prioritize fiber and micronutrients. Aim for 5 servings of fruit and veg daily, with most of the calories coming from whole foods. An easy rule is to build colourful plates. Different colours usually mean a wider range of beneficial nutrients. Lastly, decide on a rough meal structure that fits your life. Most of this just comes down to finding healthier alternatives to the meals you already enjoy, or simply adjusting them to be more nutritious. I got asked the other day on Instagram if I do findom, apparently short for financial domination, in which a submissive pay pig gets off on giving their money away. This is essentially how most of the supplement industry works. Bottled placebos with questionable scientific backing. If you want to avoid being treated like a pay pig, it's best to stick with the supplements with actual evidence, which inconveniently for the industry are usually cheap. You can do more research and make sure you're taking the right doses with examine.com. The top 3 I suggest are creatine, which helps your muscles produce quicker energy, so you can train a bit harder and get more out of your workouts over time. Caffeine, which boosts alertness and reduces your perceived effort, helping you feel more focused and perform better during training. And protein powder, which might help you hit your protein goal quickly, cheaply, and conveniently. There are more, but I don't want to waste your time waffling about such a small factor, so I'll just add these to the video summary below. If you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours a night, this will likely slow muscle growth, worsen recovery, and make fat loss harder. You want to aim for at least 7.5 hours of sleep a night. When this was a struggle for me, fixing the obvious helped at first. Making sure I slept in a dark, quiet place with a more consistent bedtime and less caffeine in the day. You don't need to do any elaborate influencer routines. This alone will likely outperform any natural supplement stack. Recovery isn't about ice baths, detoxes, and saunas. It mostly comes down to sleep, fatigue management, and your diet. If you're training hard, and especially if the gym isn't your main sport like me, I suggest incorporating deloads. Every so often, a few days to a week off of your intense training can help with long-term progress. Not to mention, when I started seeing deloads as part of the plan, it reduced a lot of unnecessary stress around wasting away whenever I'd travel or I'm more focused on other sports. The fitness industry is rife with eating disorders and mental issues. Yet, as long as you look good, nobody would ever know. There's no point in looking good if you don't feel good. I found the following tools to be helpful for improving my mindset. You see, when I first started, I knew a lot of the fitness side of stuff, but it was my mindset and the mental side which held me back. And if I ever slip up, it's usually a mental thing. Your mental and physical trajectory matters far more than your starting point, so it's worth doing what you can to keep it strong. In fact, the worse your starting point, the more you usually have to gain. Most people overestimate what they can do in 30 days and underestimate what's achievable in a year. Yet, that time is going to pass regardless, so you might as well stick to the plan and see what it does for you.